Burkina Faso, a landlocked nation in West Africa, known more for its droughts than its rivers, more for its poverty than its power. For decades, its markets overflowed with frozen imports, plastic-wrapped fish hauled in from foreign ports. Hundreds of miles away, local rivers that once teemed with life grew silent. Fishermen abandoned their nets. Families ate less protein. Hunger crept in like an invisible enemy. Generations of leaders accepted this as destiny. "We are landlocked," they said. "We cannot feed ourselves." But one man refused to accept that story. Ibrahim Traoré, a young captain turned head of state, made a choice that stunned the world. Not oil, not gold, not weapons. He chose fish. In a single breathtaking act, he released 150 tons of live tilapia, carp, and catfish into Burkina Faso's rivers. Soldiers stood guard on wooden boats. Villagers cheered from the banks. And cameras captured waves of silver pouring into waters that had been quiet for years. To outsiders, it seemed reckless. Why gamble scarce money on fish instead of hospitals, roads, or power plants? But to his people, it was something different. It was hope. It was dignity. It was a declaration that food is not charity, food is power, and survival is sovereignty. What happened next would divide the world. Critics called it madness. Supporters called it rebirth. But no one, not even his enemies, could ignore it, because this wasn't just about fish. This was about rewriting the destiny of a nation. Burkina Faso had been living on borrowed plates. Frozen fish packed in plastic, trucked from foreign ports hundreds of kilometers away. Ghanaian fillets, Ivorian cartons. Expensive, tasteless, lifeless. And while outsiders profited, local rivers grew thin. Fishermen gave up their trade. Mothers stretched sorghum and millet into meals that could barely fill stomachs. Children felt hunger not as a passing pain, but as a way of life. Then came Traoré's gamble. On that morning, tanks of live fish arrived under military escort, not bullets, not bombs, but life itself. The hatches opened, and 150 tons of tilapia, carp, and catfish cascaded into the rivers like a silver rain. Villagers screamed in disbelief. Elders wept. For the first time in years, the waters moved not with dust, but with hope. Critics laughed. Economists sneered. Foreign media called it theatrics. But within weeks, the rivers began to answer back. Fishermen who had abandoned their nets returned, and this time they came back heavy. Women at the markets who once sold overpriced frozen imports now displayed baskets of fresh, local catch. Families sat together and tasted protein they thought they would never afford again. Children's eyes lit up at meals that carried strength. But this wasn't just about food, it was about power. Because Ibrahim Traoré understood something many leaders ignore: a hungry nation is weak. But a fed nation is free. And with every fish pulled from the river, Burkina Faso was pulling itself away from dependence. The world scoffed. Foreign analysts called it reckless. Opposition politicians mocked it as childish theater. Why waste millions on fish, they sneered, when Burkina Faso needs hospitals, roads, and power plants? But Traoré didn't flinch. His reply cut sharper than any speech. A hospital treats sickness, but food prevents it. A road may carry goods, but food carries a nation. Hunger is the real weapon, and feeding our people is the real defense. In that moment, the gamble was no longer about fish. It was about sovereignty. Every tilapia in the river was not just protein. It was a shield against foreign control. Every net pulled heavy was not just commerce. It was a vote of confidence in a new future. Fishermen returned with pride. Mothers sold baskets of fresh catch instead of imports. Children ate with strength in their bodies and light in their eyes. And the message rang across Africa. This was not a stunt. This was survival. This was not charity. This was power. Because in a land where drought burns the fields and hunger becomes a weapon, the return of fish was more than food. It was dignity. They mocked fish. But fish fed a nation. They mocked a gamble. But a gamble built sovereignty. From empty rivers to bustling markets, from hungry villages to proud families, One act of defiance rewrote the destiny of Burkina Faso. And now, the question echoes far beyond its borders. If 150 tons of fish can shake the order of a nation, what else can Africa reclaim? Minerals? Land? Its future? Was this madness, or was it genius? Was it waste, or was it the spark of a revolution? Then tell us what you think in the comments. Share this story if you believe food is power, and subscribe because this is not just the end of one story, it's the beginning of a reckoning across a continent.